Hi, hello. Welcome to Girls Talk, and this is ShoroK. Like I said on the trailer, my name is ShoroK and I'm from Bahrain, and I'm an artist. But I wanted to start this show because I really wanted to start a discussion about what women go through and what girls go through. Sometimes it's gonna be fun, sometimes it's gonna be, you know, like I said, smart. Sometimes we're going to talk about things that really matters in a serious way, and sometimes it's gonna be fun, like relationships, facts, um, and how society see us as an emotional creatures. Yeah, I said creatures because that's what they literally treat us like we are a creature. So this first episode is going to be about period stigma, and I really wanted to talk about this subject like for a long time now. And I have a post on my website. I will leave a link, or I will leave not a link because this is podcast. Yeah, I will just leave it in the information, my website, and you can go to the personal posts and read it there. Read all my posts there. I just wanted to talk about period stigma because it's really, 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 really a topic that not a lot of people talk about. And every time you hear about it, it's like, oh yeah, she's on her period, or like she's PMSing, or um, they'll treat us like we are just an emotional, like I said, a creature. It's not a human. And when, especially men, when they get a paper cut, they turned it into drama. And sorry to those men listening to this. I know that I'm might over exaggerating, but what we go through as women is very important to talk about, and especially periods. Not a lot of people think of it as real issue that affects us all day long. And believe it or not, even before our period and after, like we have this menstrual cycle where it's affects us not only during our period or PMSing, it's through the whole month. Like if you go through the whole cycle, you would see that we only have like 1 week of good mood, and when our hormones are really like rising, and um they're so balanced, and it doesn't feel like the world is going to end, and that we're not dramatic. Not because we want that, is because this is how we've been created. Like this is our hormones, and I don't know how to say it other way. I'm not a professional, I'm not a doctor, but I've been researching a lot about it because I'm someone who have heavy period. And I just, during my period, especially the first 3 days, I spend it on bed, and I don't do anything but just sitting there, because even sitting on the chair is painful and is like it's a torture. And that's why I feel like we need to talk about this, not just as women but men also. So I decided this episode is going to be about it. And first of all, I want to talk about the shame that goes around it, especially if you come from conservative community, and you are being told that don't let your brother see your pads. Like it's a crime that I am having my period, which is the most natural thing that happens to our bodies, for us to have kids and for us to have to basically just to create life. Like we are women, yes, we create this whole life. I know I might seem biased and so emotional about it, because really it really matters, because a lot of girls feel like, oh, I don't want my brother to see my period pads, and I don't want anyone to hear about me having my period. Oh, did you just say that in front of your dad? I can't believe that. And you feel so ashamed to talk about it. But your brother, your husband, your dad, your uncle, without period, they would never ever exist on this earth, right? And they would never be on this earth because literally, because of my period, you are here and you're born. And why having a baby is a natural thing when we all know what happens when you to have a baby. You know what happens, but that's not a shame because men do enjoy that. They enjoy the process of having a baby, right? I know I might seem so realistic, more than realistic about it, but to me, really, what really makes me angry is that, when a girl is pregnant, no one say, "Oh, don't say that," because we all know you are pregnant because you just slept with your husband. That's the thing. So that's why, and I'm like, but period is disgusting, and don't talk about it, and it's shameful to talk about it, or for your brother to see your pads, or to say to your dad, "Dad, can you bring me some like um period pads from the supermarket?" I know a lot of people's like, "What? Are you crazy?" Especially those in the Middle East, they would know what I mean. But I never felt ashamed of it because my mom and dad literally just, when I had my period, I went to my mom and I said, and I remember I was 9 then. Yeah, I was just 9. I know I was so little kid when I had it. So when that happened, I went to my mom and she told me everything about it. And then my dad sat with me and said, "You know that now you had your period, it means that you are the same. It's just this thing happens to every girl. And that when you grow older, this thing happens to your body." And he talked to me about the process and what it means and everything. And I didn't feel ashamed because he just talked to me about it just like it's a thing that happens to every girl. He didn't make me feel like, "Oh, now you're an older girl. You became a woman now and you can't play with your cousins," and all these kind of things. So if you're from the US, you might think that, "Oh, really? This is what happens?" Yeah, this is what happens. But even in the US or in the Western world, if you are born in conservative family, especially if you're from Middle Eastern family and that you're born and raised in America or in Europe, you're told that you can't say that in front of anyone and you feel like you're trapped. And especially like for girls who live there, I think it's harder because here you are living in the most open and most, the most not just open-minded, but in a free society where you can do whatever you want to do and you can be whoever you want to be and talk about whatever you want. But here you are in your own house, you can't do certain things, and you need to go out with your friends, you feel like, "Oh, that, like, don't talk about these things because it's not my own norm, because our norm at home it's not that. It's like it's a shame." So this topic about period is very, makes me very sad sometimes, and sometimes makes me angry. The sad part is that not just women from Middle East, they suffer from that, but women, I think, from the Western world, is that you are allowed to talk about it, but you feel a lot of pressure to put a brave face and to wear your suits and to be like to be to be yourself is a hard thing, because for you to admit that you are weak on those 7 days or the first 3 days, and you say to your boss, like, "I can't come because I cannot come to work to do my job because I really feel so tired." And you're told, and especially in like the Western world, that how do you want to be equal to men when you can't come to work when you have your period, when you can't come to work when you have a child? But let me say this, is it's a process that it's so painful that you feel so not ashamed, but you feel that I need to put a brave face for me to be seen as a serious person, because us women, we've always been seen like, oh, you have to take this break, that break. You can't come to work because of this, your hormones and everything. So you take that mask, I don't know what you call it, but it's a mask, and you put it and you go to your job and you kick ass and you are so strong and you kick ass and you do an amazing job. But you are broken from the inside, and it's not your fault that you don't want to admit that you're weak or you're in pain, because if you do it, then you will be faced with the same thing that everyone say, oh, but how do you want to be equal to men? Forgive me to say this. I'm not against men, because my role model is my dad, and he's a feminist, and he's the one who taught me to be a feminist, by the way. And he's the one who told me that if you want to become the woman you want to become, you have to watch Oprah Winfrey. And he introduced me to all these amazing women. So I'm not against men, but I'm against this thing where men are told that, oh, if you see a woman, she's a feminist or she's a strong, but she wants to take a break because she just had a baby, or she wants to take a break to because she had her period. Oh, but now how you want to be equal? But we can't treat each other as if we are just on a constant war with each other, that, oh, if you want this, you get this. If you don't know, but why don't we see each other with the emotional with our emotional eyes, and we say that, oh, you create the most beautiful thing in the world called children, and because of you I am here, because you existed on the first place, we are here, and because what you bring to the world is a beautiful thing, and you recreate life every day, it's a beautiful thing. Why don't society and community and businesses see women as, oh, they're not a machine? Okay, she carries a baby for, I'm not a mom, I'm not a mother, but God bless your soul if you're a mother, because I think that's the most beautiful, amazing thing that you're doing. Because I'm not a mother, but sometimes when I see my friends and they have kids, and she run around her child all the time, and she is on her period, she's feeling the pain, and she's working, and she have to feed him, and she have to do, yes, her husband helps her, but to go through that physical pain, and you still have to teach your child, and you still have to run around him to give him a bath, and just to carry on like you are laughing and enjoying your day. And even if you cry, you have to just wipe your tears and just carry on. And it's like you are like a machine. No, it's not. And if you're a woman who have a heavy period and heavy cramps, you know what it feels to be like, to be in that position where you're so in pain, and yet you're still taking care of everyone around you. You're cooking, you're doing everything. Believe it or not, even taking a shower, even going to the toilet, even like standing to brush your teeth is hard. Even breathing, eating, you feel nauseous and you feel angry, and you feel like, there are moments when I feel like, if the world ends tomorrow or right now, I don't care, because literally you feel like you can't breathe, and the cramps pain, oh shit. I always feel like, if just like, why won't we have like something less painful? Because it's really, whenever I have it, I'm on my period, and I feel like I'm sweating. Like, it could be on December or like January, and it's so cold. Oh, and let me talk about being cold. Like, it's so painful, because when you go to the toilet, oh, let me tell you the cold, what it does. Okay, so you feel so hot all the time. You're sweating, and I know you've seen this as a funny joke, like you're always sweating, but no matter how cold the room is, you still feel like you're going on fire, and you feel depressed. And not a lot of people talk about this. I don't know, it's part of the stigma, I don't know, but you feel depressed and you feel like the whole world will collapse. Your own world is collapsing, and no matter how successful and no matter how beautiful and no matter how fit you are, no matter how you're sport girl, no matter how you have the most beautiful life, in that moment everything doesn't make sense. Because even if you're successful, you will think of something that will ruin your success and say, oh, you think you're successful, right? Oh, believe it or not, you're not. So there are thoughts that will come into your mind and you will think of every possible reason to turn every positive thing into negative thing. And you feel so trapped in your own thoughts, and you feel no one loves you, no one understands you, because in that moment, the cramps and the hormones are really playing a dirty game. I call it dirty game because it is a dirty game. That's what I feel. Like right now, I'm laughing, believe me. On my period day, I feel like the world doesn't make sense and why we're alive, why we are here, and everything we're doing is an illusion. And after 3 days, my hormones start to balancing again, and it feels everything makes sense again. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna like be at the top. This year is my year. But 2 weeks or 10 days before your period, you will have thoughts of like, you feel heavy, you're bloating, and you feel down, and you feel all the crazy things that happens in your head, that you're not beautiful, and you're sometimes, I don't know if someone out there like me, but I feel like even my skin turns into like my worst enemy, because it becomes so not breakouts, not only breakouts, but something about my skin just feels so unhealthy. Like my mom will look at me, it's like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Because your face is yellow and or green, and you're not, it feels like you're going through a sickness. Or she would look at me, she's like, oh, your under eyes is so dark, and your face. And I look at myself, yeah, it's true, I feel like I'm not myself. Like my face feels so tired and so um not the same skin that I know. So but I'm someone that I take care of my skin, and I love to take care of my skin, and I do have a skin routine. But during these days, 10 days before my period, that's what I feel. And my body, and I have something called IBS. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I don't have how I'm going to say it because it's so difficult. Every time I try to pronounce it, it's so hard. Irritable bowel syndrome. It's a long thing. I will talk about it in a different maybe episode. But this IBS, if you have IBS, you know what I'm talking about. It affects your cramps. It affects your body, because you already during the month, when you're not on your period, already your body reacts all the time, and you feel heavy without anything, and you feel heavy even if you just drink sometimes water, you feel like you're heavy because of IBS. And your body just changes. When your stress level is high, your body looks different. When you are relaxing, you're different. Sometimes nothing in the world can fix that. So when you put IBS and period, I've read a lot of these articles about like how it does effects, because they're both kind of clash with each other. I don't know, I'm not a professional, but that's what I've read. That's what I understand from those articles, that they clash with each other, and it creates this crazy cramps, because you already have cramps when you eat the wrong thing, when you have IBS, when you eat like garlic, onions, the wrong fruits or the wrong veggies. You feel bloated and you feel like you're pregnant. Really, a lot of people will look at me and they will think I'm pregnant because it looks like I'm pregnant, because it's unreal. My stomach feels so unreal. So with periods, so us women, we go through that, and yet we still have to hide it, feel ashamed about it, and you have to feel like, oh, let me, like I said before, that you have to put that brave mask. And I hate that. I hate that. So now I started to be like, you know what? I create the most beautiful thing. Not me, I don't have children, but as a woman, you create the most beautiful thing. You recreate life, like I said. So I was like, you know what? On those three, especially those first 3 days when I had the heavy, heavy pain, I'm not going to pretend that I'm powerful. I'm not going to pretend that, oh, I'm going to take a painkiller and I'm going to wear my suits and I'm going to make it. No, I'm like, you know what? I need to rest for these 3 days, because if you put a lot of pressure on yourself already without your period, we're already under pressure from society to perform, to be, to act, to do, to create, to do all these things. And and they put this kind of this label like, but you women want equality, you women want to be treated like men. No, treat me like I'm a human being different than you, that my body goes through this thing, okay? It's a natural thing. So treat me like I'm human, just like you. But I go through these things that are so painful. So I'm no longer going to act like, oh, I'm feminist, I want to be treated equally. But when they tell me like, oh, how you want to be treated equally when you can't come to work like every month, you can't come for 3 days, you can't do that. That's the business. I call it the business eyes in life. Because because you don't want to pay me, right? Because they don't want to pay you, they say, you want like to treat it equally. But look at me as a human. I can work at home. This COVID-19 proved that I can do some things at home. And even if I can't, like, these 3 days are painful. I'm not playing games. I'm not going to Disneyland. I'm not jumping. I'm not partying. I'm literally in bed for 3 days. Just look at us as human, just a human who go through different things. Um and it really hurts me to see a lot of women, they go out there and they put a lot of pressure on themselves, and to show that, oh, even when I'm having my period, I can perform, I can act. Even when I'm pregnant, I can act, I can perform, or I can do my job 100%. And physically, you feel like you are being teared apart, because you go back home, you sit in your bed and you say, I don't have to do this, but I have to do it because I will be seen as weak. And they will face me with, oh, aren't you the one who said that you want equality? Then here you are. Take it. So you feel like, oh, you're lost between, I am brave. But in those days, or if you're pregnant and if you have like a heavy pregnancy, or you have all these issues that goes in your head during those 9 months of being a mother, and responsibility and all these thoughts, and your hormones during not just period, but during pregnancy, it goes up, it goes down, and it plays with you like it's a roller coaster. roller coaster. Um, and you feel like, if I don't do this thing, I won't be taken seriously. I won't be taken, seriously. And you feel so depressed. And that's where our mental health starts to decline, because you feel like, okay, I go through all these things, I suffer all these things, and yet when I go back home, I can't put that mask down. Because if you're not single and you're married, or you have a partner, or you have a boyfriend or a partner, you feel, oh, I can't just be in bed. I have to clean, I have to wash, I have to do things, I have to cook for myself. If you're single, for example, you have to cook for yourself, and you have to clean your place, and you have to take care of yourself, do the laundry. All these things that you have to do. And that's why, for me, I think it's this stigma around it is not just about conservative society, it's about the whole world. We're seen as, then admit that you're weak, admit that you go through those things, excuse me, and don't ask for equality. So either you want equality and you take the pain and you kick ass with that pain, or you say, listen, I'm weak, I have this pain, I can't do it, shut up. Okay? Or when you're from conservative society, okay, you might give me my equal pay, but I can't speak about it. I can't tell my husband that I'm going through it, and I can't tell my brother that I'm going through it. And and there's this thought that a lot of people don't know out there. If you're from Europe or the US or anywhere that is not Middle Eastern people will know what I'm talking about. The minute you get your period, not my family, thank God. I'm blessed enough to have parents who are open-minded, and they think this thing that happens to women is not a shame. It's part of life and part of nature, and that's what happens to our bodies. And that's why I don't feel that. But I can see my friends, a lot of my friends, I've known people in life, and I've seen it I see it everywhere, that if you have your period, you become a woman now. You're an adult, no matter how old you are. You can be 9, you can be 10, you can be 12, whatever. When you're 10, you're just a kid. And when you have your period, when you're 9 and you're a girl, you're told, like, now you're a woman. And only because when you get your period, now you get pregnant, that's where the shame comes from. That's where people say, oh, you know what? You can't go out now with your friends. And they start to observe you. Who did she talk to? You can't sit with your cousin. Now your body is a place where you become a sin walking on earth. And now, even if you don't think, because when I was 9, if my dad was like, now you're a woman, you don't play with your cousins, I'd be like, why? Because I'm a kid, I'm 9 years old. And you will open my eyes for these things, and you will literally show me that why I can't hang out with my cousin. Oh, because I'm a sin. And now you feel like, oh, what is that sin that everyone says that now you're a woman, you got your period, and now you can't hang out with your cousins. And you feel so ashamed of yourself. Literally, that's where shame starts. Not just from the pad hide it. but also from like you can't hang out. And now if you say hello to a man, it's like you know, they look at you or they treat you like you just did the most horrific thing because you are now a woman. Shaking hands with a guy won't get me pregnant, by the way. And you're too, and in some societies, when you get your period, they immediately, like, that's the most horrible thing. In some societies, they they give the girl away for marriage because now she's a woman and they can't handle that. Now she's a woman, she might go to school, and for some communities, they I know a lot of people will be like, it's a 2021. Don't you think that these things? No, believe me, those things still exist. They will force her to stop going to school. They will force her out of school, and they will find someone to marry her because now, and that's called child marriage. And in that, right now, I'm thinking a lot how horrible this thing is. Can you imagine 9 years old getting your period and you immediately introduced to a man and now you marry him? Isn't that the sin here? That you, it's horrible. Like, can you imagine 9 years old being married and to be introduced to these kind of sexual things from that age? The trauma that creates that that thing will be I can't even imagine. Can you imagine, like, 9 years old, you're getting married, and all you've known for the last year is that how you're watching the Power Rangers and you're watching Cinderella, Snow White, and you are in La La Land and Disney things, and you open your eyes into this horrible thing, child marriage. And in some societies, that's what they do because they can't handle the shame if something happened. 9 years old, where would she go to bring you shame? She doesn't know anything. Or 10 years old, or 12, 13, 16, even 18. Like, what does she know? What is this thing around it? Is around this thing, period, is horrible. Away from putting the brave face and putting all the feminist thing, there is a world that exists right now where girls would have to I have to say this, but I know how horrible, to have sex with an adult, a 9, 10, 8, even like even 6, to have sex with an adult. Sometimes he's 30 or 40 and she doesn't know anything other than she bleed. One day there's blood, sorry for this, but blood in her underwear. Suddenly things change and now you need to perform these things with an adult. Can you imagine the trauma? Can you imagine, how many girls die every year because of these things? Because her body can't handle pregnancy because she is 9. Her body is still developing. Yes, she has her period, but she's still little. That's, to me, is a crime, and I can't even talk even talking about it. It makes me angry. So that's the stigma around it, is that a lot of people don't talk about it because there is a dark side behind it. I remember, because my mom and dad, they're liberal and free thinkers, and especially my dad. He's the coolest dad. I call him my guardian angel and my miracle, because he's someone who treated me like a human. Didn't treat me like I'm a machine that now you had your period and now you have to act in a certain way. No. My mom taught me how to put my pads in my underwear, and she showed me everything. She talked to me about it. She's like, you're going to go through this, you're going to go through that. She prepared me for all that. But then my dad talked to me. It's like, you are my baby girl. You're still going to be my baby girl. And this thing happens to every woman, girl, everyone in a different age, but it doesn't change anything other than you just grew a little bit older. That's it. That's it. You're 9, you're 10, you're 12, you're still the same for me. So it didn't change. But I can't imagine when you get this, now you stop hanging out with your cousins, with your male friends, and you don't play with them. And can you imagine that there are children who go through that and their hormones change and they know nothing about it, that those are hormones, and it's not you in your head thinking of yourself that you're going crazy, but those are your hormones. I've been told that, but a lot of girls out there, they know nothing about this. So that's why for me, this topic is very, 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 very sensitive in some communities, and it's very, very, very deep in the ocean, even for it's deep in the ocean for some societies, and especially in European and Western world. You don't hear that because we women, like I said, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to perform in a certain way and to kick ass all the time because we don't want to be seen, like I said, weak. But the other dark side of it is in Middle East, and not just in Middle East, in conservative communities, where you feel like it's a shame, and it's when your whole life changes. It's when you walk differently, you think differently, because now I don't want to bring shame for my family. And even when you start like falling in love with a guy, just a normal thing that happens to every girl, you feel like you're carrying this shame because now you got your period, and it will bring shame to your family. I will talk about this topic in a different episode, but it's part of it. Like I said, it's part of it. When you get your period, things change. People see you different. People just, those from the Middle East, you know what I mean? And if you're a man listening to this, I hope that this helped you to understand your daughter, your wife, your partner, your friend, your employee, maybe, to understand that we are not at war with you. It's just, this is something happens to us, and it happens to be painful, and to some women it's horrible, and just be there for her. You know, it's not going to take anything from your manhood. Like, I will never forget, like, every month my dad will just tells me to lay in bed, don't do anything, I'm going to bring you food, water, I will take care, and he take care of me, and my mom will cook for me or will help me in like cleaning or whatever. But my dad would always just tell me to lay down. He's like, this is not your fault. This pain is not your fault. It doesn't take or add any value from or to you. It's only a thing that happens to women. And I respect that you still breathe and smile through it. And I'm glad that you are not afraid of it, that you're not ashamed of it. And I'm happy to help you during these days. Bring your wife a chocolate. Bring your daughter a sandwich. Prepare her meal. Bring her water. Ask about her. Just call. Hey, it's your period. Can I do anything for you? Can I bring you something? Flowers, chocolate, please. Or put some movie for her. Let her rest, because really, she's not weak. She's not. Um, she's not. It's not that she's not brave, but she is vulnerable during these times. That's all. And just read about it. If you're a man, read about it. There are millions and millions of articles out there about this issue. Just educate yourself about it, and you will see that it's not weakness. It's the most amazing thing that woman does every month, and it will change your mind, believe me. And to girls out there, and especially to my single ladies, um, you're brave and you're not alone. Believe me, even if you don't have anyone taking care of you, believe me, you are brave enough to say, I can't, I am in pain. Just admit it to yourself, because you're stronger when you admit that you are in pain. And you're stronger because you said to yourself that I can't do it. You're weak when you don't admit it, believe it or not, because you are broken from the inside. You are building a trauma. You're building a lot of horrible feelings about you being a woman. In these 3 days, embrace yourself. Sit in your bed, lay in your bed, watch whatever you want, and if you can, order food. If you can, prepare a meal for your 3 days. I know it's hard, but I do these things for myself, where I prepare myself a couple of meals for those first 3 days. My dad sometimes order food for me, and he brings me chocolate and all these things. Do these things for yourself. Sometimes I don't let my dad do anything for me. I prepare these things for myself. And because I know there are a lot of single girls out there who have a horrible times. And to every woman, I love you, and you're brave. You are stronger than you think, and you are the most beautiful thing that God ever created. So take care of yourself, and see you in the next episode. I hope you liked this one. And if you like it, you can send me some voice messages if you want to be part of this show, or if you want me to talk about certain shows, subjects. So take care of yourself, and see you in the next episode. I hope you like this one, and have a nice day. Bye bye.